One of the most common questions and one of the biggest stumbling blocks for freelancers, especially when they first enroll in my course, is how do I choose a niche? Or they say, well, I'm stuck between this and this. And the easiest way to overcome that indecision is usually me just asking this one question. What is more important to you right now? Is it making money as quickly as possible, generating profits, getting your feet off the ground, getting this business idea off the ground, making a high rate, being able to command a high rate versus working for pennies? Or do you really want to build a personal brand and pursue your passion and write about what you absolutely love at the expense of it taking a little bit longer? Which one is more important to you? Making money as quickly as possible so you can pay your bills, make a full-time living as a full-time freelance writer, working from home? Or is this more of a side project for you where you'd rather take a little bit longer, not see the results you want, and you'd rather stay the course? You're this consistent person that's going to keep pushing forward despite the hardships, despite not making what you want to make. But it's all for the pursuit of writing in a niche that you absolutely love. That's really what gets people unstuck. That's what gets freelance writers to make that initial decision of like, oh, actually making money is really important to me right now. Or, I have a husband that supports me. I have a full-time job. I don't need to write about something boring just for the sake of hustling and making money. It depends on your specific situation and what your desires are and how fast you want to get to the end point. And there's nothing wrong with either one. It's just a matter of where you are in your journey. And this became, I realized this because right now, it's funny, when you become a freelancer, especially a freelance writer, you're going to have a lot of people who, once they realize what you do, they're saying, oh, I need that. I need help with that. Everybody needs a freelance copywriter. They might just not know what the terminology is. They might not know what a freelance copywriter actually does and the value it can bring. But once they do realize it, they're like, oh, I actually need that, right? So throughout my freelance journey and being self-employed and running my business, I've come across people who I've actually bartered with. So I had a lawyer who wrote, I had a lot of work done by him, but pretty much I had him write my contracts, had him create terms sheets for me. I had him threaten a client that wasn't paying me. So he gave me a discounted rate because I created an email sequence for him. I am now working with a personal brand photographer, and she gave me a steep discount because I'm writing her website. Now, a personal brand photographer, is not someone I would typically work for. I work for tech companies in the B2B space, and as I'm writing and interviewing her and, doing this whole process, I'm like, oh my God, this is so much fun. I know what these writers out there who they work for coaches and course creators and photographers, I understand why they pursue that niche because we just vibed so well. We're both in this space, and she wants the page written in this conversational tone, and the research was fun. It's just a fun project. But even with all that being said, I'm still going to stick with my niche because I know how much I can command. I know how much work I want to be doing during the day to make the income that I make. And I'd rather get paid more to do less work. That was the strategy that I took. And because that doesn't sound glamorous and doesn't sound fun, and it doesn't sound like, yeah, babe, manifest your life. Because it doesn't sound flowery, people get turned off by that message. And maybe that's a good thing, because if you expect this to be quick and fun and glorious at all times, it's not. That's just the reality. And you have to understand the good and the bad and what comes with this. So again, it comes down to those two questions. What is more important, money or pursuing your passion? Because I'll just give you a prime example. For me, creating my course, 30 Days to Paid, that was something that took a lot of time, and I did not expect to see profits from that because it's something I really care about. I knew it was going to be a slower build. It's not as reliable and high paying and lucrative maybe as B2B technology copywriting, but it was worth it for me no matter how long it takes, because I love doing what I'm doing right now, right? Talking to you, and I'm in the middle of recording new modules for my course, which is why I have my makeup on. I was like, all right, let me go on live while I'm doing this. But, you know, there's a big difference between pursuing your passion and pursuing what's going to pay the bills right now. I'm doing both, but I had to start with doing the technology copywriting that wasn't so fun. That was hard. That was like a big learning curve. It was uncomfortable. My clients aren't fun and vibey, and we don't like relate like that. They're like these marketers, and I'm like, ugh. But you know what I mean? It wasn't a fun time necessarily. I'm more comfortable with it now, but in both scenarios, I'm making the money I need to make, except I just divided them into two separate things. There's something I do to pay the bills, and I enjoy doing it, but it's really like I would never do it unless I was getting paid. Whereas, you know, I pursue blogging and content creation as more of my passion, but I don't expect a huge payoff right now at this moment, right? So let me make sure I'm talking to you guys. Amanda said right now my priority is getting clients yesterday. Totally. As an email copywriter, I'm stuck getting clients on LinkedIn, and most times the list of requirements is so scary for a beginning like me. Yeah, Morrow Fashion Universe. Oh my God, I'm sorry. My dog just hocked up like a loogie. Sorry about that. I just want to say something about email copywriting. That's a bit of a harder sell to get in the door. I really recommend you go and like pitch blog writing services, or pitch like a lower barrier to entry service and work your way up to email. I have almost never come out the gate pitching email services. I did have a client reach out to me, and I did like, oh my God, the emails were so boring, which is probably why they just gave me it. But it was like reminding people to enter information into a platform like, hi, I seen you sign up for this thing. Did you know you have to enter in your social security number and link your bank account? Like, that's the type of writing I was doing. It was super boring. My point being is that it's a little harder to get email copywriting opportunities through a straight cold pitch, especially as a beginner. So try an easier, a less of a barrier to entry, like content writing. And then be like, hey, I noticed you do this. Did you know that I can write emails? Look at what I've done. That's always the approach, and how I broke into email copywriting. It's like I developed the trust in the beginning with that client. They understood that I was reliable. They could see the quality of my blog writing. And then I brought it to the table, like, just reminding you, I also do this. And that's what a lot of copywriting is. People don't understand like how you wind up getting all of this work from one client. It's building that initial trust, and then being like, did you know that I also do this? Or, hey, I saw that you did this podcast episode. Did you know that I could also do this for you? You're constantly upselling them. Not in a cringy way, but you know what I mean. I've been taking the time to build and pursue 6 months now, and I still want something meaningful to me. I know I'll get something good soon. That's a good mentality. And I think some people do have that ability to like stay the course and be like, I know this is gonna pay off eventually, but again, you're gonna have to find some way to pay your bills in the meantime, right? And unless you have like a trust fund and stuff like that. Is AI gonna take over copywriting jobs? No. I have so many videos on that. I want you to look at my YouTube channel and definitely hear my opinions on that. So, is content writing not lucrative at the moment in the tech niche? Asked Julie. No, it 100% is, because I'm still primarily a content writer. When I think of my split of how I make my money as a writer for B2B tech companies, content is still the majority of my income. I think why you might be asking that is because things have been so quiet. I was just talking about this in the Slack community for my course. Things are scary quiet. Like, nobody's really filling out the form on my website anymore, and I'm really doing a lot of work with existing clients. I'm not getting a lot of inbound inquiries. It's really quiet in tech ever since the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank and the layoffs and the impending recession and all this stuff that's scaring people and making people really hunker down. But I'll tell you this, the work is still there. That's why right now is the time to be cold pitching big time. And I'm just going to tell you exactly what I was putting in my Slack community, right? Just because they're not actively hiring new writers or posting opportunity for new writers doesn't mean the work has stopped. It means that they are scared to put their feelers out there and start paying someone and expanding projects, because the whole vibe right now is like, do more with less, fire people, let's slim everything down. So there's this universal, at least in tech, there's like this feeling of like, let's not start new things. However, that has not stopped the influx of work, because I'm still getting the assignments from my existing clients. So if you can pop into your ideal client's inbox with a cold pitch, a thoughtfully written cold pitch, and really be touching on the points that you know they care about right now, they're going to be like, well, damn, we do need somebody to start writing those blog posts. Well, damn, we do have that website redo. Yeah, let's give her a chance. So cold pitching is always something I recommend, but right now when things are like quiet and weird and like it feels like work is drying up, is actually the best time to just hammer the hell out of people's inboxes and LinkedIn and pitch them your services. It's probably going to take a larger number of pitches, but it is so worth it. And again, I have YouTube videos on like how to do retainer packages and how to keep clients for longer. And I think that's what has been sustaining me right now, is the existing relationships that I've built in this niche, because it does even seem like, to me, it feels a little bit like, oh, yikes. Like I haven't been getting like any interest from new clients, which is kind of weird. But I think things are also going to pick up, because it seems like the summer becomes a mad dash for these companies in tech. And I know that because that's when I want to work the absolute least, because I live on the East Coast, I live in a beach town, and I want to be outside all the time. And that's when I tend to get the most assignments. And I'm like, fuck, like I need the money, I want the money, but I don't want to sit in front of my computer for hours writing this. So that's where AI comes in, because I can do it quicker. Sorry for asking. Okay, but I would like to, okay. For the blog post and content writing, do you have to niche down? Yes, I'm a big proponent of niching, and I'll die on that hill. I'm just starting, so I'm a bit nervous. That's awesome. Guys, I'm loving spending time with you. Before I sign off, if there's any questions, those are the things that I wanted to share with you. Something else I wanted to share too was like, stop admitting you're new. I literally have like a Asana card up right now. It says stop admitting you're new. And the reason why is because I'm in the middle of hiring writers for my blog. I'm down to 2 writers who are completing test projects for me, because I'm starting my own SEO efforts. Long story. But a lot of the emails and pitches I get are like a lot of apologies and a lot of admitting you're new, admitting you're inexperienced. And it's nice because people who are writers are so like, I think they tend to be sensitive and empathetic and honest and not wanting to oversell themselves, and like they're not hypey and they're not like liars and snake oil salesmen. But there's a difference between knowing how to market yourself confidently and like being way too humble and being way too honest. Like, you don't need to admit that you're new or that you're inexperienced. Like, never pitch someone and be like, well, I've never done that before, but like I'd love to give it a try. No one wants, like, who's hiring a contractor who's getting help for their business, nobody wants to be like, oh, they're new. Well, that doesn't make me feel comfortable, right? So even if you are new, what I suggest you do is just keep reiterating your enthusiasm about the role. You don't have to say like, I've never done this before. Let them, if they want to know that, they can ask you flat out and you can tell them flat out, but let people focus on the fact that you're excited about the project versus you putting it out there. Like, that's like, going on a date and you're like, oh my God, I was so nervous for this date that I was like, throwing up. Like, we don't need to know like so many details like that. And it actually winds up hurting your credibility. So please, I know we're all honest and we want to be so like forthcoming and we care about people, but sometimes it's like overshare and it's not helping you. I also got a lot of people who are like, hey, I want to write for you, but my website's like under construction, or my website's not done yet. And what I have to say to that is, you would never apply to a job and say, hey, I'm interested in this job, I'll send you my resume when it's done. So I don't understand as freelancers why so many people are applying to jobs and applying to roles and bidding on these opportunities without having your ducks in a row. So please, have your website and your portfolio and everything before you reach out, because nobody's going to wait for you. Nobody's going to look at that email and say, oh, they're working on their website, I'll just like wait. No, they'll just literally gloss right over and go to the next pitch. So make sure that you're prepared in that way. What niche do you think is easier to learn, or should I say niches that won't kill your desire to be a copywriter? I would say blog writing is one of the easiest ways, but in terms of niche, that's totally up to you. There's health, there's fitness, beauty, direct to consumer, packaged goods, there's B2B technology, there's just like so many options, which is cool. What do you think about prospective clients who say, all right, go. Prospective clients who send you files and stuff to download or follow their socials, is it a red flag? What do you think of prospective clients who send you files to download or follow their socials? If you're working with them, you want them to provide as much resources as possible so that you can learn about their brand. So I'm not sure if I understand what you're asking, but if they're asking you to do like a lot of hoop jumping before they've even hired you, I do think some behaviors can be a red flag. Can you start a YouTube channel for introvert people? You have so much knowledge about it, it'll help you. Yeah, I feel like that was one of my tasks for like the upcoming quarter, was try to like tailor my marketing messages towards people who are introverted, because I do think that's one of the things that differentiates my strategy and my framework, at least in my course, is like, so you want to get freelance clients, but you're obviously not this like extroverted networking, like let's create content, let's create a YouTube channel, because I know if that was the case for me, I never would have done it. And that's why cold pitching to me offered like a level of privacy where it's like I didn't have to go posting on LinkedIn or posting on these social media channels and alerting the world as to what I was doing, because I'm telling you, when I started a few years back as a freelancer, I never would have had the balls to like put myself out there like that. The only reason I'm doing this right here is because I sell a course that requires me to do what we're doing right now. To get a B2B tech writing client, you don't need to do this. I actually recommend maybe not doing it for, at least for tech clients. Like I don't want them to know too much about like my personality. I want them to just be focused on like my skills and what I've done and who I've done it for. But that, that all depends on who you're going after for your ideal clients. For certain niches, it definitely helps to have like this big personal brand, but that's just not something I would have felt comfortable doing. Nicholas says, I feel like an imposter and I'm still scared to cold email clients. How can I overcome the fear? My first question would be like, have you done all of the work in terms of setting up your portfolio and your website and your online presence? Because once I created a website and updated my LinkedIn profile, something flipped for me where I was like, oh, I feel like now that I see myself on a website and I have a website, I actually feel like I'm like a real writer, even though I had never been hired to write. So creating your online presence and putting that work into it can really be like this big confidence boost, and something like mysteriously switched for me where I was like, oh, like I am a writer because I'm saying I am, and I have the website and the LinkedIn profile to back it up. So I would ask first, did you create your online presence? And if you have, maybe you're not super happy with it or confident with it, which could be deterring you from having that confidence. The other thing is that it really is a numbers game and you have to be pitching a ton of clients. So I would say like just sending that initial email, sending that initial LinkedIn connection request, and seeing that like you're not going to die, just taking that first action. can get some momentum rolling for you. But you let me know. Okay, I think I'm done with this live. It was so good hanging out with you guys, and thank you for joining. Julie, I'll answer your last question. If you want to get into freelance B2B tech writing, but you say it's a bit flat at the moment, is it better to start with another niche? Honestly, I don't think it's flat at the moment. I just think there's some economic issues that are impacting certain behaviors of marketers. It's not that it's flat. The need is still there. It's still very lucrative. So, you really have to do the research. You really have to take a personal inquiry and say, do I really want to go down this direction? If this is something you want to do, don't let a temporary time period deter you, because even niches like travel and tourism that had a really big dip eventually all come back, right? How to use testimonials when searching for clients. I don't know what you mean by how do you use testimonials, but they're super powerful and you want them displayed really prominently on your website. I include them on my pricing sheet and I call it marketing collateral. So when I send pricing to clients, I'll have my best testimonials on there. So just trying to find creative ways to display them. Even putting it maybe in your email signature. I don't know, right? It's just, they're really important though. What I do, and this is what I teach in my course, is that I have all of my clients give me testimonials on LinkedIn so that they're sitting on my LinkedIn profile, and then I copy and paste them onto my website and other places. Sorry, I've been sick for 3 months, so this is a struggle. How do you decide whether this is a good question. How do you decide whether to go into B2C or B2B? The easiest way is to decide what niche you want and then see, okay, because I'm choosing this niche, does it tend to be B2C or B2B? So every niche might have a B2B or a B2C component. So let's say technology, right? There's consumer technology like iPhones, but then there's software that's used by enterprise companies. And that's your choice, right? But what I will say is that if you're going to choose fashion, beauty, fitness, these tend to be direct to consumer niches. So you have to spot the patterns, and every time you're looking at a list of clients that you're interested in pursuing, you say, is this brand speaking to companies, or are they speaking to individual consumers? That will let you know where they tend to fall and who they tend to sell to. I don't like to say that one is better than the other. Yes, I think B2B has so much lucrative opportunities, but that doesn't mean you can't have a really thriving career as a B2C copywriter. I just interviewed Topaz Hooper on my YouTube channel, and she does vegan sustainability stuff, and that's not something I would think of as super lucrative, and she's killing it. So it just goes to show you, don't let anybody tell you that a niche is not lucrative or not whatever. It's just a matter of can you make it work, All right. Thank you guys so much. I'm really going to go this time. Make sure that if you're watching this, you check out my free LinkedIn guide that's available on paidcopywriter.com. because that's really going to tell you my story and how I got on LinkedIn and how I started pitching clients and chose my niche, and addresses some of the questions that have been asked in this chat. So that's at paidcopywriter.com. It's a free download. It's my LinkedIn guide. Jemima said, thank you so much. Your content is so helpful. I go back to them every time I want a cold pitch. That's awesome. I love hearing that, because I sit there and I create these free resources, whether they're free or paid, and I want to know that people are using them. So I so appreciate that. All right, enjoy your day.